All right. Welcome back to the show. We got with us Dave Allred. Dave, good to have you on, brother.
Dude, it's so good to be on here, Bridger. I've been excited about this one for a long time.
I know it's fun. Me and Dave have known each other for a long time. Followed you for a while and seen your stuff, and then we've been in groups together. We've just been around the same circles for a long time. It feels like. So I'm excited to have you on. It's gonna be fun.
Thanks,
now,
man.
real quick, give them the 30-second overview of your current resume, I guess you'd say. Axia Partners, you've done a lot there. Real estate development, your fund, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, 30 seconds is pretty quick. From Utah here,
Yeah.
Manti, super small town. Grew up, low income, blue collar family. Never talked about real estate, finances, any of that. Went to Snow College and got recruited to go out and work for a company called Pinnacle Security, and then went over with Vivint Security the following year. Had a 17-year career with Vivint and Vivint Smart Home, Vivint Solar. Loved it. It's literally going out and knocking doors, probably the hardest way to make a dollar.
Yeah.
But, learned a lot from it. And going into that, I knew it was going to be really challenging. I knew it was going to be an easy job. But, I think what drew me to it was I knew that I was going to learn a lot from it. And I've always had a mentality of, if something scares you or if you're uncomfortable, then you should probably do it, because that's where we get personal growth and development. Anyway, jumped out there. Hardest thing I've ever done in my life, man, that first year. Thought about quitting every single day, multiple times. But luckily it was a success, and I always loved real estate. Actually, what I really loved was having more freedom in my life. And so I wanted to create massive freedom. And I realized that real estate was the best way to create reoccurring, consistent passive income and not pay a lot of taxes along the way. And so that's what drew me to real estate to begin with. And, it was just consistently taking active income and moving it over to passive income through real estate.
Yeah.
And so that's a journey. It's been about a 16-year career now a journey in real estate. And it's been incredible, man. I've loved every minute of the process. And we'll probably spend some more time going through that. Yeah,
it's awesome. And then now you got with Axia.
Yeah.
So tell us about Axia, just high level, what you guys are doing.
With our real estate fund, it's called Axia Partners. And we launched that back in January, so about 10 months ago. And it's been incredible. It's been a really fun journey. We have 5 GPs on the team, and the fund is focused on recession-resilient passive income. So we just invest in multifamily, RV parks, and self-storage, because those are all very recession-resilient asset types. Yep. And so we had a $20 million capital raise, oversubscribed very quickly. It's actually gone even better than expected. And so we're launching Fund 2 here in Q1 of 2022.
First fund, $20 million, oversubscribed. It's huge. And then now into the second. And by the way, I like bringing people on the show that are at all stages. We bring on guys that have multi-billion-dollar funds, people that are just getting started, and people kind of in the middle, right? Which is where you guys are at, right in that middle uptick growth area, which is amazing. So I want to talk first on a topic on a lot of people's mind is real estate in the digital world in Metaverse. Is this a scam? Because last week we saw a property sell for $2.5 million. You see, I follow the NFT accounts. We see properties for $500,000, $1 million, $2 million going on Decentraland on Sandbox. And a lot of people are listening like, how do you make sense of that?
So 2 things. So with NFTs and virtual land, I don't know a lot about it. I want to. But I think NFTs are the future. I think blockchain is the future. I think the blockchain will replace title companies. Smart contracts are going to change the entire game, where we could literally buy a townhome, a condo, a 400-unit apartment complex, all through smart contracts and not have to go to a title company.
All the hassle of just the transaction currently in real estate.
Cuts out all the middlemen, including real estate agents, including brokers, all of that. And so I'm actually really excited about it. And, my approach is just to really embrace it, because it is the future and it's coming. So you can either embrace it and run with it, or you can fight it. Either way, it's going to happen.
My thought on the virtual land space is that I'm scared that there's like 50 metaverses right now being launched and launching. There's only going to be 1 or 2 winners. You might be by buying virtual land in a world that no one's going to care about in 4 years, right? Because everyone's like, oh, it's invested for the future. Yeah, only if like Facebook or Meta decides that that's the platform, or Apple, because all these Apple, Google, Alphabet, they're all coming in. They've all announced their plans to come in. They will either choose one they want to go after, partner with one, or buy one. And I'm guessing they're going to buy one. I'm guessing Facebook or Meta is going to buy one of these places here pretty soon. Now, if they bought your place, then, you have 1,000x return. If they don't buy your place, though, then you're down to zero. That's, I don't know, my thoughts on that. But
yeah, no, I agree with you.
I think you're going to consolidate down.
Yeah, so I've thought about buying NFTs. You can buy art or, just different images and videos and all stuff. To me, based on my experience, it's too speculative for me to even call it investing, because who knows what's going to happen with that one. Because really the value is just what somebody else is going to be willing to pay for that in the future. Whereas like a fund structure, like what you're working on, again, to me, that makes a lot of sense because there's diversification where you're in multiple different coins or NFTs or whatever else. And so when you are in a more speculative space, I think it always makes sense to have diversification. As an example, with Axia, going back to our fund, I took, when I came up with our investment thesis, I curated that based on, okay, how can we mitigate downside risk knowing that we're 12 years into this phenomenal housing market? Right? So we can protect the downside, not lose. Like Warren Buffett says, rule number one, investing, don't lose your money. Rule number two, don't forget rule number one. Yep. But then still create really strong returns for our investors. And so that was real estate. And but it's diversified across, 10 different states, 3 different asset types, and about 8 different properties. And so by doing that, it incrementally decreases your risk profile in the deal. That's my take on it. One last thing on the blockchain I'll just share with you. So I'm a very systematic, kind of a calculated guy. And so the way I look at blockchain and investing, people get so excited about it, right? And usually, at least most people I know, they jump into crypto based on emotion and FOMO and fear and greed, right? And so my advice is to be very systematic in your approach and really know what you want to get out of your investments. And so as an example, I'll share with your audience, what I do is whether you have a $100,000 net worth or a $100 million net worth, take 1% of that into cash, 5% into blockchain. And this is what I do personally, right? Okay. And then 5% into hard money loans, 5% into bonds, 10% into equities, 15% into private equity investments, 25% into residential real estate, and 33% into commercial real estate. And so those are different buckets. And to me, that just creates more of an all-weather approach where I'm not going to try to time the markets because frankly, nobody knows that. That's a fool's errand. And I'm not smart enough to try to even pretend that I know what's going to happen in any of those markets. And so I sleep well knowing that, hey, I've got exposure to multiple different buckets and multiple different assets in each one of those buckets, and they're all cyclical.
Yeah, I love it. In your portfolio overall, how much is high risk, medium risk, low risk for you?
I actually don't look at it really that way. To me, it's all about cash flow. So every one of those investments I try to optimize it for cash flow. And so crypto, you can stake your crypto, make cash flow on that. And so the only thing that's not cash flowing is the 1% cash. And a lot of the private equity is more of an equity play and there's not cash flow, but every other holding and every other bucket is a cash flow machine. Because to me, Bridger, frankly speaking, I care more about my cash flow than my net worth. To me, cash flow is everything, especially in an inflationary environment like we're in today. If your investments aren't making more money, right? Throw it back to the what's that book, Richest Man in Babylon. It's all about your deploying your money to go and create more money to create offspring, right? And that's a really powerful concept. And so I would encourage, to me, cash flow is king. It creates. I talk a lot about lifestyle investing, and so it's basically curating the lifestyle that you really want, reverse engineering into that lifestyle based on your investments. And I just found that, mailbox money, cash flow, reoccurring revenue is such a powerful thing, man. If you really want more freedom in your life, I would challenge, your listeners to change their mindset to really say, okay, how can I pay for my quality of life and the things that I want with the cash flow that I'm generating automatically?
Anybody listening to you can tell Dave has thought through the money game. And I think number one, when I talk to people about money, I had a kid on Sunday night call me up. He wanted advice on what to do with his life. And my opinion on money in general is thus. And I say most people in traditional school, and you can tell that you're deeply rooted like this, and I'm the same way. We're not taught about money. We're not taught to care about money. Even though money is the number one cause of divorce, number one cause of stress, number one cause of financial concerns, the number one cause of just problems in people's lives. And
Bridger, I gotta say one thing real quick there, and that is what's crazy to me though is that there's no financial literacy taught in the public school systems. Like it is a key part of our society and our lives. And so in public schools, elementary, high school, middle schools, even in college, unless you're going into finance. And then still it's more business finance.
And they don't even teach it. No, they don't teach you personal finance very well. No.
So in my opinion, and not to go down this rabbit hole, but that's by design. I think that financial freedom creates more free agency, and which I think is a God-given right for us. But I think that, there's no benefit to those organizations, institutions to teach us about financial planning, financial literacy. And so, hey, here's what I'd want to share. So just, how can I create the most amount of value with this group? Number one is get super intentional and clear on what you want in your life, right? I think it's got to be in writing. A good mentor of mine in my life early on said, a goal that's not written down is a dream. And so by writing it down, you put power to it, and you're able to measure those incremental improvements and see as you improve and hold yourself accountable to it. So get clear on that. And by the way, if any of your listeners want a copy of a template of my lifestyle design, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm welcome to share that. It's not a product it's been meant to share, but it's been really fun to share with some close friends. Next thing I would share is, just really always focus on creating value in life. I feel like the more that we have an approach in relationships, in partnerships, in whatever, even as a parent, it's all about how can I create maximum value in this moment, right? With your wife, in this podcast, business ventures, whatever it is. The question is, how can I create maximum value? And I've found in my life that the more value I can create for other people, it always comes full circle. Even if there's not a immediate benefit right now, eventually, I've instilled value and it's going to come around full circle, usually twofold. The next thing I would say is, I've learned that if something scares you, you should probably do it, right? Whether that's, skydiving, base jumping, climbing Mount Everest, a lot of these adventures that I've done in my life is just, if it scares me, I feel like I should do it. And it really empowers you because then you don't live life with fear because you've already done it before. And I feel like when we are on the fringe of our comfort zone, that is where we get the most development. And so I always intentionally always try to stay uncomfortable. And I know that sounds kind of asinine. People are like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you always try to be uncomfortable. I feel like I'm the happiest in my life when I'm making forward progress and I'm becoming the best version of myself. Besides that, I could keep going here for sure, but just live life short. One of my goals is to have no regrets. I lost my mom unexpectedly about 2.5 years ago, and my dad's struggling with Parkinson's, and I just feel like, the time is, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is given, right? And so we really just have to maximize our time, every moment we have with our kids, our family, our businesses, and make the best of it, because at the end of the day, life really is short. And so, and then last thing is just take big bites. I think that I would rather look back at my life and having failed at a few things, but having known that I tried and that I took some risk and I went for it. I think most people at the end of the day, they look back at their life and like, man, they don't regret what they failed at. They regret not having taken the shot. And so just live life all out, just go for it. I think that that's where we grow. And at least for me, that's where my adventure comes from, is getting uncomfortable, doing big things, and really enjoying the process. And the last thing I would share, Bridge, is just, at the end of the day, I think that, money, nobody cares how much money you have or even how many rental properties you own. Like, it's really fun for people to say, hey, I have ownership in 1,280 rental properties today, right now, right? That sounds cool. It's fun. At the end of the day, nobody gives a shit if I say that, at my funeral, right? Yeah. And so what really matters is it's about the people, the relationships, the experiences that we create. And even around real estate, real estate's not really sexy. It's the experiences and the relationships we're able to build around real estate that's been really fun for me. So it just, just focus on who you do business with is who you do life with. And so make sure you have the right partners in business, and really focus on being a good person, creating strong relationships, and creating awesome experiences and memories along the way.
Dave Allred, everybody. Thank you so much, brother. I love that. That was like a whole book could have been written off of that last little bit.
Hey,
thank you guys so much. Go follow Dave Allred on Instagram, and then AxiaPartners.com.
And Bridge, I want to acknowledge you for creating so much value for thousands of people looking to get into the fund space, man. It's been fun to watch your journey.
Well, it's fun having awesome fund managers like you on. Again, Dave Allred, thank you guys so much. See ya.
Thanks, guys.